Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Eden Journey podcast, a place of family, fellowship, place of fellowship, communion, and community. It's so good to have you here, guys.
Where did family come from?
I don't know family, but everybody needs family.
Yeah.
We are family anyway. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode. Thank you for the interactions, the comments, the everything that's happening with our videos, and we are back. Hi, Joe.
Hi, we are back with yet another video, another conversation, just in line with what we said we desired to talk about this year, just to have authentic conversations with, believers in different spheres, different spaces. And today we have someone who is in the marketplace or in business generally and is doing business. I can say is a kingdom entrepreneur. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we just want to hear all about his story, all about, being a kingdom entrepreneur. What does that look like? Is this a word? Is it just a word that we throw around? Is there a difference in the way believers do business or should do business than, people of the world? So
Yeah.
I'll just throw it back to you to introduce him.
Okay.
And then we'll kickstart it. Or he can introduce himself.
Can just
No.
introduce himself.
But maybe make it more interesting without telling us what you do.
Yeah.
Tell us
Who you
who
are.
you are.
Okay. Wow. Hi everyone. My name is Matu Kihato. I am a believer in Jesus Christ. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a friend to many. Mentor to a few. And I'm really happy to be here. I think I'm a fun-loving guy. I think that sums it up to a certain degree. I like to laugh a lot. I like jokes. I like pranks from time to time.
Oh.
Yes. From time to
Suspects.
time. So that's just generally who I am. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes. So welcome, Matu.
Thank
So
you,
good to
Daisy.
have you here.
Thank you.
And we just get straight into it. So I know Matu from the marketplace.
Yeah.
And you have 12 companies.
Mhm.
That's a really big vision.
Mhm.
Why do you have 12 companies?
Why 12?
Why 12?
12?
Yeah.
I believe it was instilled in me by my Father in heaven. He gave me the vision many years ago. I was always curious about purpose and destiny from when I was very young. So I'd always ask God, what am I here for? And one of the things that He would always reveal to me when I was 10 is that one day I would have multiple companies. I didn't know what the word was, but the word is actually conglomerate. To define all these many companies in a grouping and what they're supposed to do, how they operate with each other and so on and so forth. But I knew I was going to have many companies doing different things, but creating and changing people's lives in different aspects. So the desire that I had for those companies wasn't, first of all, not mine. It was just envisioned and given to me, not just to make a lot of money. That's not the desire. The desire was also to have a lot of impact and to change people's lives so that people come to the organization, whether you're working there for the rest of your life or for a period, a season, you've come out transformed. That was the purpose. Yeah.
Maybe at a young age, you said you had that desire or God
That
placed that in
realization,
you,
yeah.
realization. What does that look like for a child or as
I
the
was
age?
a
Yeah.
child. I was 10.
What does that look like as a 10-year-old feeling like, I'll own companies one day? What gave you that mindset? Many people when they're 10, you think, I'll be a doctor one day. I'll be a cardiologist one
I
day.
thought I was going to be a doctor.
Oh, but what was in the mind of a 10-year-old that made you desire what you have now?
I guess I was always very ambitious. That's something that I was born with, and always very driven towards having a beautiful life, having a lot of achievements and success and so on. I think what drove me was the influences which I had around me. So my mom was very big. My grandfather was, first of all, a big influence in my life, and he was a very successful man. And I admire him so much because the years that I got to spend time with him, he really planted a seed of what is possible, no matter where you come from. So he was very ambitious, very driven in so many ways. Then I guess for me, the influence around me was led by that. So when I was a very young man, when I started to speak, my mom always would say, I'd say some outrageous things, like about how ambitious I was, what I wanted to be. This is when my late father was still alive, in fact. And then as I grew older, God basically aligned my path so that I was able to see a version of who I wanted to be one day. And that influenced me. And then I kept on leaning into it more and more and more. So, for example, I would now, my mom would bring me a lot of books about Ben Carson and so many successful business people, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, quite a lot of people. And I grew up reading about these people and being influenced by them. And then that just kept on feeding that idea. So by the time I was 10, I was already introduced to a lot of these ideas and a lot of these mindsets. But I think the cornerstone of it was my relationship with Christ, because if you abide in Him, you bear much fruit. That means if you spend enough time with Him, He'll help you understand why you're here. So I got to spend a lot of time in my Word. Like I used to have this. My mom got me this Bible, and then this Bible study guide, which you used to get at TuneIn. Do you guys remember TuneIn? Sorry.
Your age is showing.
You guys don't remember TuneIn?
No.
Okay, ABC. There was at Yaya Center. So it's a Christian bookshop called TuneIn
Oh,
back in
yeah.
the day. And
Okay.
then there's Keswick now. It was there then, but I
okay.
guess TuneIn. So TuneIn used to have these little pre-teen manuals or Bible study guides. So I used to read that a lot from when I was like 8. And my mom really got me into the Word. So that spending time in the Word got me to pray align and pray for certain things. Like, for example, I prayed once for God to give me the wisdom of Solomon, because I saw Solomon was very wealthy. I was like, why can't I, if I pray for wealth, He may not give it to me. But if I pray for wisdom, there's a chance. So I did pray that prayer because of those influences from the Word of God. So that I could say is that's I guess what you said. That's what it looks like for a 10-year-old to understand. I was coming from a very enlightened position because of my relationship with God, my relationship with His Word.
The influences around
Exactly.
you.
Yeah. That was a bonus. But there's a lot of people who I grew up with who don't have the same mindset that I do. You see, I have lots of relatives who don't think like me.
Same way,
I think my relationship with God and my relationship with His Word helped me see things. As a praying for wisdom, helped me now pray for direction in regards to what I was supposed to do with my life. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing because, as you've said, all of you can be in the same environment, all of you can be in the same family, but then you end up having a different goal in mind. Your life turns out so differently.
Outcome,
And I think that I like that you've tied it back to the Word of God and that relationship that you have with God. I think in my small years of living, I don't think I've met someone who dreams as big as you do. I think sometimes we sit and you tell me the vision and I'm thinking,
Aje.
And I remember because I work for Matu, so the first time you shared the vision, I'll never forget. We're in Westlands, in that office that we moved from, and you told me the big vision. And then I remember asking you, why? I was like, why would you go through all this trouble? Because it's such a huge vision. It's in, and I like what you said, it's in impact. It's in the many sectors that affect everyday living. It's in the sectors that affect after you've gone to church on Sunday, how you're going to show up on Monday, how you're paying your rent on Monday. Are you children going to school? Are they not just going to school, but are they going to school that are exposing them to this possibility? So maybe you answered my why then. Maybe you can answer the why now. I don't know if you want to touch on what Providence Africa Group does.
Sure, I'd love to,
So just maybe touch on it and tell us why.
Okay. So Providence Africa Group is a group of companies that is designed to represent God's kingdom on earth. That is what it's primarily doing. So a lot of people think it's not just a place where people read the Word of God, and we do business, but we do meaningful and impactful business. So we're here to uplift and transform lives, develop, sustain, and empower through our various avenues and businesses. So the businesses that we are 12 companies, 2 of which are currently operational, and the rest are being operationalized as we go along. So the vision, God gave me the vision first. Then you put the vision down on paper, which we've done. And then now we just take one step at a time. So a lot of the companies are not yet operational, but over the next 5 to 10 years, they will be fully operational in the various sectors. So we have a sourcing business, we have a food security business. So if you look at our portfolio, if you go online, you'll see we're in every single essential sector.
Yeah.
So if it's supply chain, if it's food security, if it's energy,
Logistics.
if it's logistics, healthcare,
Media.
hospitality, property development, media, charity and CSR, that's the grand vision for these companies, so that everybody's life is impacted in a good way in whatever sector. There's a lot of good kingdom businesses out there, but all of them are in a niche sector. So, for example, there's one specifically in healthcare,
That's true.
then another one specifically in media.
Mm.
But now imagine having all of this under one roof. That's how you should see it. And all of it really bringing down God's kingdom. Just like in Matthew when it says, your kingdom come. That is what Providence is. It is God's kingdom coming down and showing you how the kingdom of heaven operates in enterprise through us. We're just a vessel for what in fact, not even a vessel, a mirror for what heaven is in terms of how it operates in its own dimension and atmosphere. So that's what we are as Providence Africa. The why? It's hard to run away from destiny. Yeah, I don't believe you should run away from destiny. I tried, but it doesn't end well, and it delays a lot of the work that God has for you to do. So I believe it's obedience. I'm doing this just to obey my Father's command and will, and by the grace of God, when you obey God, it also benefits you greatly.
That's true.
Yeah, you get a few nice privileges and perks. Yeah.
I was also going to ask what you've said, that most people are in a niche business. So if you're either in media or you're in healthcare, you're in food production, but for you it's sort of like an all-encompassing business. But
an ecosystem.
Ecosystem.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think as a business person. Did that make sense to you as a business person? Because I remember I watched one of your other interviews and you said you've never been employed a day in your life.
No, I have never. And I think it's by the grace of God that I haven't. Because whereas I'm not against people who have been employed and then gone into business, I think it's worked very well for a lot of people who I know even.
Yeah.
But for me, because of the vision God gave me, employment would have been a distraction and may have limited my vision, you see. It would have limited how I see and reason, because I already had a lot of the skills and the self-discipline that employment would have given me, waking up and showing up on time for meetings and so on and so forth. So I guess for me, it was the idea of learning to not be limited, you see. And employment can do that, because if you work for a small organization who doesn't have that much ambition and you have all these grand ideas, you'll never mesh, number one. So either they'll spit you out or you become like them. And then that's not a good thing. Either way, it's a lose-lose. So by the grace of God, he got me straight into entrepreneurship so that my vision can remain undeterred.
And then how did you as an entrepreneur, because I'm thinking it as a businessman or if someone who is doing entrepreneurship, it makes sense to be in a niche area. So how did you battle, or what did obedience look like when now you had this desire to do multiple things? And then what was the reality of that, especially when like you said, the boxed type of doing business is let's stay in a sector, dominate it, instead of doing multiple things and reaching out. Like what was that internal dialogue like for you?
By the grace of God, my grandfather had multiple businesses in different sectors. So I'd already seen a blueprint of what I'm doing looks like. Where in fact, I believe it's safer to be in multiple sectors. The reason for that is because obviously, yes, you can go dominate in a market, but even as soon as you start dominating, you need to have another business that will complement what you're doing. And I saw that for my late grandfather, and he had hospitality, he had real estate, he had agriculture, and they all lent on each other whenever they need it. So when one is low, like in post-election violence, there's nobody booking hotels. So the hospitality business will suffer. But people are still buying agricultural products. So you're still going to get a lot of people buying tea, coffee, your courgettes, whatever it is in the supermarket. So you see, the hotels or the hospitality can lean on that business.
The agriculture business.
So my mindset isn't typical in that regard. It's not. I don't see things in a linear fashion. For me, I believe it's safer not to have one, but to have multiple. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think also how you think is also very different because your thinking is not a particular way. It's not conventional.
Yeah.
It's very unconventional. And I've seen even in the running of the companies, your unconventionality, I don't know if there's such a word, but I want us to talk about, because part of what I'm getting is that the influences that made such a big influence in your life, were you seeing how your grandfather ran his businesses, that positive impact in running business. So what's the place of mentors allowing you to see that, how big something can be, and you working with mentors? I know you work with mentors and coaches.
Yeah.
How important is that in the life of an entrepreneur, or someone in the marketplace, that you're not a one-man army? Not really.
Yeah.
But you
But
don't
you can't do
counsel
things
is
that-
not just you,
Yeah.
but you're able to sit down with people and ask them, this is what I want to do, this is what you've done. So just the place of mentors in the process of being an entrepreneur.
I think it's critical. Yeah, you do need people. The beauty is nobody is doing, we're doing something very unique, but I'm sure other people have done something similar. Maybe not to the same scale, but something similar. So I think it's 100% essential for you to spend time with a lot of mentors. I have new mentors that have come into my life right now. My father-in-law is a very good mentor of mine. I have so many mentors all around me, from different faiths, different beliefs. But I believe the mentorship is so critical because it informs mindset. You see, I don't believe in the idea, if you're going to be successful, seriously, or if you're going to do anything, find someone who's doing it better than you. And if you're sincere and genuine, that's the one thing that most people aren't. If you're sincere and genuine about it, you're not trying to take advantage of them. You're not trying to you're there.
Use them to get a leg up.
No, you're using them to learn. Because one thing about successful people, they love to share wisdom. They love to share the secrets of success. The problem with a lot of people is that they go there trying to take advantage of their money, which is silly.
And influence,
Listen to the person. Listen to what they get the mindset first, and that mindset can only come from mentors, from certain influences, and it requires you to have a mindset of change. So, if you started out my grandfather started out in extreme poverty. He allowed himself to change and to be exposed to mindset that will change his thinking and how he viewed the world. You see. And you have to be willing to change. And a mentor, be able to call out the change within you. But mentors are absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm thinking about a businessman who's saying, I have a shop, maybe because now we're in town, somewhere on Kimathi Street, maybe they sell electronics, right? And they're saying, what would a mentor look like for me? Where do I start to get a mentor? They might say, where do we start to get the mentors?
Yeah.
How do we look for mentors? And how do you know? Because I think it's both ways, because there are also mentors who can take advantage, right? So how do you ensure that you've gotten a good mentor? And is it okay to walk away from a mentor when you realize,
absolutely,
something's not going right? So a normal, ordinary Kamau on the road who has a shop, just one shop, but they know this shop can grow. How do they look for mentors?
First and foremost, don't make it about you. What does that mean? You see, you're looking for a mentor to help you become more successful, as opposed to looking for a mentor to help you increase the impact that you have. If you really want to be successful, don't make it about you. Because when you start hanging out with mentors because a lot of my mentors, the one thing that stands constant with each and every one of them, it's not about them. They help so many people. There's so many people who are relying on them for livelihood, for opportunities, whatever it is, that they can't, when they make a decision, they don't think just about the bottom line. They think about the families that are connected to whatever it is they're doing. And I'm talking about people who are not Christians. There's non-Christians. There's an old mzee who I deeply admire and I spend a lot of time with, who teaches me that, as in, it's about the impact. He builds houses. He's one of the largest developers in Kenya. And it's about the impact. Before he builds a house, he asks, what's the impact going to be on this area, on this community? How many jobs can we create? You see, the mindset is very, very, very...
It's what needs to change.
Yeah. You going into it, if you're looking for a mentor, ask, first of all, it's not about you. What can this business do for where I am? Number two, where do I want to go? Because your success is going to have a place where we get the law of diminishing return, where you've achieved every single successful goal or target you could have ever imagined, now it's not about you. Now you're not getting satisfied by your own success. Now you start asking, what else can I do? And that's why the question you should start with is,
Where do I want to go?
where do I want to go? And don't make it about you. What can I do for that? Where I am. If I want to go to my business, if I want my business to grow, if I want to do electronics, how many jobs can I create? What is it that I'm trying to do with this business that is not just about me making more money and living in Runda and so on? Because you're going to reach there. That's the thing. If you're on a journey of success, and I believe if you're intentionally, you're aligned with where you're supposed to be, not that you're copying Ati. Joanne sells electronics now. Matu wants to sell it because Joanne is doing really well.
Ikona pesa.
I don't. That's rubbish. I think let Joanne do her thing because she's blessed there and she's aligned.
Yeah.
Let me focus on where I'm aligned. So if it's agriculture, let me do that well and successfully. And then now, when I get to a certain point where I've already made all the money and I have everything, my kids are in the best schools, and I drive a nice car, I have all these things. Where's the impact? That's how you go to the next level. So for the Kamau, I'd ask him, where's he trying to go? Before he should ask himself, where's he taking this business?
Yeah.
What's the point of it? When it's all said and done, is it just so that he can make money? You know? Because once you get the money, and
then
I sometimes believe people need to get to that point so they realize how you've made it. It's fulfilling to a certain extent, but how much more you desire. You know? Because once you make all the money in the world, now you start desiring, how do I leave a legacy? Who's going to remember what I do and so on and so forth? And that's the attitude that you should have. Yeah.
It's a mindset shift from just living for today, which I think is where most of us are, to living for impact.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think also a lot of people in business probably also need to have that mindset shift that business, in as much as sometimes someone just stumbles upon business, you just realize that you're good at this, you end up doing it, it makes you money, but then at somewhere along the line you realize it's not purpose, it's not fulfilling for you. So do you think there should be correlation between purpose and business?
Absolutely. I believe do your business. So do your purpose, live your purpose. What you find a lot of people in Kenya do is that they make a lot of money, become very wealthy. Then what's the first thing that you hear after they've reached a certain point? They're running for MP.
Yeah,
They're running
politics.
for governor.
The next thing is
That's
politics.
usually the question.
You know,
by the
they
way.
promise how they can make all this change and not realizing that you can make the change if you just allow yourself to think differently. That is a typical attitude, is that everybody needs to rush into politics and become an MP or governor or president. They think that's where the real change is. No, the real change is in what we're doing every day, the private sector.
Yeah.
There is some change. There's a lot of change you can make in the presidency, or in parliament and government. But a lot of changes are the ones that you have with if you have one electronics shop, you've decided to open up a factory for light bulbs because you've reached a certain level, and then you've employed another 1,000 people, and then you said you're going to open a cable spinning company. Sorry, I'm getting a bit technical, but there's so many layers you can look into it if you really want to make impact. Yeah.
And I'm also thinking about it in just also a very simple way, in just like if you own an electronic shop and you have employed 2 people, are you exploiting them? Are you paying them properly?
Yeah.
Because also that's also part of impact, because we forget our employees are, it's someone's husband, it's someone's father. Are we the people who treat people fairly, pay people fairly, because there's also a lot of injustice in how people are being paid? Or are you just a harsh master? Are you, because that's part of impact, because God will bless what you have stewarded faithfully. So the 2 that you've hired, are you paying them properly? Is the work environment healthy enough so that this person, as they're going home or whatever it is that they're doing, that also is impact? Yeah.
Maybe to shift gears a bit, in listening to a bit of your story, you really talked about a season that you tagged the wilderness season, which lasted for a few years. That's to show that we do research on our guests.
We don't just come here
We don't just bring them. We make sure we dig. But anyway, and I was really curious to hear. Of course, we did hear that, but maybe for someone who's never heard your story, how did the wilderness season look like for you, and especially with the vision that you had? Because I know many people get into the wilderness season and they're stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a way in which, because the wilderness season brings a lot of suffering sometimes, and suffering can limit your mind.
Yeah.
For example, if you're in a season where, you know, money is short and that's what you're going through in this season, you can almost, your mindset can almost become like, you know, akunanga pesa, you know, and you begin to have that fear of,
Yeah.
and confess it. But how, you could tell us a bit about that wilderness season for you, and how God carried you through, and how you still, how were you still seeing these you know, what that little boy was seeing, or did it get distorted, and how did God just carry you through, and how did you exit that, and how it's been?
Oh wow, you guys are very well researched. So my wilderness season is 7 years. Started in 2013, ended in 2020, and it was mad with a lot of things. First of all, if you're in the wilderness season, you need to understand what God has called you to do. There is something that you're doing, or you're supposed to be doing. There's something you're not doing, or that you're doing, that's holding you back. So wilderness is supposed to actually refine you. It's not supposed to make you suffer. I maintained my vision because I understand. Number one, I trust God. And I trust when he put me through that wilderness season, there was something good that was coming. You see? So I have faith in him that even during those uncertain times, that he was there for me. Like, he'll take care of me. Even now, if you're going through an uncertain time where you don't know what direction to take, what decision to make, I know he's still here with me. And that is the practice which I learned in the wilderness season. So it's about understanding the vision doesn't change just because you're in the wilderness. But it comes down to how close is your relationship with God, and asking, what is this about? You know, what is it? There's a wise man who once told me, he was a mentor of mine in that time, and he said, your prayer right now, because I was really going through it, like I was surviving on 1,000 bob a week from him. You know, he would hand me 1,000 bob a week every so often, and I'm like, how am I supposed to survive on this? But I was like, he told me, he sat me down, he said, you know, Matu, what you should be doing right now is asking, what is it that I need to learn in this season? What is it that is keeping me here? Because if I don't learn it, then it'll keep going. Because you see, God will only move you to the next level if you obey the current level. Yeah. I had to do something. There's several things which I had to learn to do in the wilderness. I was never a tither. Even though I was a believer, I read the Bible, I never tithed. I had to learn that. I never fully obeyed God's will and command for my life. I had to learn to obey. So if he told me, stop doing business like this and start doing business like this, which is where I really suffered for a long time, because I was doing business in a certain way and God was not happy. And he had told me multiple times in my spirit, but I wasn't listening. The moment I changed that, everything changed. Yeah. Everything really transformed. And I thank God for my wife, because she was one of the main reasons I did change how I did business and how the decisions I made. So that's where a big challenge comes in. That's where there's a lot that has to happen in terms of you changing. Because you see also, when people get stuck in the wilderness, it's because they refuse to change. They refuse to surrender. The wilderness is about learning to fully surrender to whatever it is God is telling you to do. It's hard. It requires you to understand that most of the time, when you're doing this thing called surrendering, you have to put aside every single expectations or idea you have of yourself and put it to the corner. And it's not most of the time, all the time, and become who God has called you to be. Yeah. So, yeah, I hope that answers that question.
It does.
Yeah.
When you were in the thick of it, did you actually know that, by the way, the wilderness season? Or was it in your mind, was it just like, hey, I'm getting
hard
back-to-back hits,
Yeah,
hits
bad
after
luck.
hits? Or
Yeah.
is it bad luck? Or is this God thing just a
Yeah.
sham? You
Yeah.
know, the people of God just always suffer. Like,
Yeah.
or is it in hindsight now you are looking back at it and you're like, by the way, that was the wilderness season.
Yeah.
But in that moment, did you actually know? So you were in it with understanding that this is a season, it will pass?
Yeah.
Or was it like a hindsight thing?
It was in the season I knew I was going through something.
Okay.
Yeah, because someone had actually prophesied to me, a lady, a very good prophet lady, and she told me in 2013 at the beginning, she said, Matu, God is about to take you through a really tough season, but he'll refine you. So I knew what I was going through.
Okay.
I knew what was happening. I just didn't realize the extent at which it was happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it was about increasing. My mother used to tell me during that time, my late mom, God is strengthening your muscle. That's why you're taking this, because you try so hard. Even when you start to obey and start to obey partially, you see a few signs of change and progress, then something hits you. You're like,
back
what is
again.
this?
Yeah.
Then my mom once told me, said, God has to build your capacity for faith to trust in him. And your capacity for faith is directly correlated to your ability to trust in God. How much faith do you have in him? Plus, it directly correlates to how much you have, how much faith you have directly correlates to how much trust you have in him. You see, because the more faith you have, the more you trust God.
Yeah.
And God needs you to trust him, so that when he gives you a big vision, you don't question. So see, that's a doubting mind. And in history, you've seen that what has delayed God the most, or what has, in terms of his impact over humanity, has been people doubting him halfway through. Like Moses doubted at a certain point. He let his anger get the better of him. So what is it that I have to do as Matu Kihato so that I never doubt my God? My faith has to be built. Yeah. So that I don't let, and faith can be developed differently for different people. Like, I'm a stubborn person, so I know, it's true. So God understands how he works with me. And also environment, that's one big thing. Sometimes you could be in the wilderness because you're supposed to move. Wilderness must change you, but it must also change what's going on around you.
Must change what's going on around you. Yeah.
So there's a lot that you could look at and realize that maybe there are things that there's an environment which I'm surrounding myself with that is keeping me where I am. There's an attitude, there's a mindset that I have. There's case in point, there's a young man who used to work in the gym that I go to. I had very hopes for this guy. Then I used to tell him, you need to continue to maintain your relationship with God and so on and so forth. Then one day, I hadn't seen him in a while. Then one day I asked what happened, and I was told, he was fired because of he lost a relative who was very close, and it hurt him. As opposed to being mature about the whole situation, he spiraled, and he started being disrespectful to the owner of the gym, one of the owners of the gym, who had taken a shine to him and was holding him up, and he lost his job. And it's because he refused to change the people around him. You see, and I remember telling him that, not understanding why I was even telling him, you need to move out of where you are, move to this area. There's a reason. You have to leave certain environments, otherwise they will destroy you. You have nothing to prove to the people you started out with. Nothing. It's the truth. And with the wilderness, has to make you selfish. Selfish enough to follow your purpose. You see, it is not permanent. If you look at the story of Joseph, it's not permanent, but he needs to remove. It's refinement.
Yeah.
So your question should be, if you're in the wilderness right now, what is God refining in me? What capacity is he building within me? What is it that he's giving me the ability to do during this time?
Yeah.
What is it that I need? And learning to align to that direction. One thing I always do when I'm in transition, and we go from one season to another, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. So I always have to learn to sit still and surrender and say, okay, God, what do you want me to learn now? I'm ready. I surrender. Whoever it is who I was that got me up until this point, I surrender that person. Now make me the new person. Yeah. Fill me in so that I can become the person that I need to be in this season.
Yeah.
And that's one thing a lot of people don't do. That's why they get stuck decades in those cycles.
Yeah.
They refuse to change and move away.
Yeah.
Daisy knows this story about going back to Egypt. There's a lot of people who do that. God gets you to a certain point, and as opposed to when God needs you to move to the next level, there's you can get a comfortable success where God gets you to a certain point of success, and you say, "This is it. Don't do anything more. This just keep me here, happy." But God is like, "No, you have to go to the next level," and that requires discomfort.
Yeah. I like this because sometimes when you hear marketplace, it's go, 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 go.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stillness and sitting and understanding the season that you're in. And knowing that sometimes when you hear about the wilderness, number one, nobody will voluntarily go into the wilderness because it's like, why? But knowing that, because as someone says, life is about season, says, the word of God says, as long as the world exists, there's seed, time, and harvest. At any given point, you're in a season. something is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And also the wisdom to just know this is the season that I'm in. Like Matu is saying, like knowing this is not just a bout of bad luck. There's something here. And also knowing that if I want to get out of here, I need to start knowing, number one, who do I need to become? What do I need to change? What mindset do I need to change? So that you're not going round in circles. Because I feel like that's the disappointing thing about the wilderness. It's the constant, like, you're going back. It's like when someone is lost in, like you see in the movies. This is like, didn't I see this tree?
Yeah, in the forest.
Yeah. I was like, didn't
That's
I
the
see
truth.
this tree?
Yeah, you start
You
going
go again.
Yeah.
This I saw this tree, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also to take those markers of understanding. I've been down this road before,
Yeah.
and I don't want to.
Why do I keep going
Why
back?
do I keep?
Where do I
Yeah.
keep
Yeah, and I
coming
just
back
wanted
here?
to ask Matu about that, even in terms of your self-awareness. You know, that you're very conscious, very conscious. Because to be able to sit down with yourself, I think the person that you're very much unwilling to meet and sit down across is yourself.
Yeah.
How did you achieve that level of self-awareness and not being afraid to say, yeah, it's me that needs to change? That's my first question. Number two, about environments. If there's one person that moves,
It's me. It's me.
and it's
Or
always
like literally,
Yeah,
like if
move.
it's
Yeah, I'm always ready to move.
okay.
Maybe I should start with that one.
Here
I
you
am,
go.
I am always ready to move because
and
I will
and
never-
not
yeah.
going and allowing yourself to know
Yeah.
that these friends were for a season, because that's also
Exactly.
something that you're really big on. It's just
Yeah.
like you don't need to carry everybody along. It's so hard,
It's so hard.
but it's true.
it's true.
Yeah.
So hard. Yeah.
You think about it from God's perspective. The only person who's not allowed to change is him, who doesn't change. His methods change, his responses change, but he's constant.
Constant, yeah.
We are not allowed to remain the same. That's what a lot of people don't realize. You're not allowed to stay in the same job that God has called you out of, and you're supposed to go into business. You see, I know so many people who are called into entrepreneurship, but they sat in a job that was making them miserable out of fear.
Yeah.
A lot of people are in the wilderness because they're not taking the right decisions. It's that simple. I think the first and most important thing I've always believed, and I'm one to say, I'm not the victim. I'm not a victim. I look at a lot of people may look at my past. Or your parents are both not here. They both passed away. You've been through all these challenges and struggles. You and your siblings, blah blah. But I'm not a victim. I know there's something that I have done to contribute to maybe not what happened to my parents, them passing away when I was young, or when I was in my mom later on, but them passing away. But there's something I'm doing in my life that's not helping me. You see, because that's what I can control. You see, I can't control what the world is doing or how it's responding and reacting to me, but I can respond how I react to it. So I first and foremost, I don't blame the person. I ask myself, what am I supposed to be doing that is keeping me in this environment? And I'm not afraid to change. I've learned to trust God enough to know that if he's given me a prompting to move, I move, he'll catch me. You see, I'm not afraid for God to tell me, by the way, okay, Matu, I want you to move your headquarters from Westlands to Kiambu Town. I want you to move there, set up a building there, even the way it looks right now. Just do that. I can do that like this if he asks me to do it tomorrow. And I'm ready to do that very quickly. Because I understand God can't bless you where he doesn't want to bless you. You can't force God's blessing to find you at here in Hilton.
By force.
They won't. Like, you have to go where he tells you to go.
Yeah.
And if you look at it historically, if you look at the Bible, because I recently finished reading the Bible end to end for the first time. It took about 2 years or so. And I was really happy. I was very, very happy about that. But if you read the stories of all the heroes of faith, the one constant is move. Abraham left the city of his father and moved to a new place. Yeah. Joseph was taken away. You know, people think about his brothers his brothers were vessels. There was no way that Joseph would have been able to leave without his brothers. So he has to be grateful for his brothers. He would not be prime minister at the end. You know.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even the people who are not good to you, are not nice to you, they're helping you. If you allow God to, you don't try and fit in with them. You'll never be accepted. Wherever you're being pushed away, leave. So I'm always quick to leave, as in I have no patience for hanging around where I'm not welcome. Why? Because I know there's something so much better in the next stage for me.
Yeah.
So I'm always very quick to move. Very quick. And even if it's scary, that's also another thing. You see,
Because fear is crippling.
It
Fear,
is. I think
yeah,
that's what keeps people,
yeah. Locked in.
stagnant, locked
Yeah.
in. You're like, hey, what does it
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need to ask yourself, do you fear God more? So do you fear the decision more than you respect your Father in heaven?
I think a question someone would have is, how do I know that this is even God leading me? Because what I'm hearing from you as well is a lot of, it's like you by the time God is telling you to move in the big decisions, you've already mastered his
The
voice
small,
in
The
small
things.
decisions.
Yeah.
So maybe someone is feeling, I need to quit my job to do entrepreneurship, and they're like, is it God? Is it just me? Am I just bored with this job, frustrated, or is God actually using this as a, to pivot me into business or vice versa and whatnot? So how did you
You know.
differentiate
Yeah,
and
the voice.
know whether it is your own ambition or did God use that? Like, what did that look like for you?
I believe God hides your vision, your destiny in your imagination. The ideas he gives you in your head. And you find that if you're stagnant where you are, that's a sign that you need to move. But beyond that, or you need to change something in your life. If you're in a job, for example, normally what will happen, you'll see signs. It'll become more hostile towards you. It'll become, you'll hang on, but you'll have no peace. And
True.
if you understand, if you spend enough time with God, if he tells you to, and also there's aspects of you that has to change. So sometimes he can keep you in a place there's a lot of turmoil, but there's things you have to change about yourself. So change isn't just about the environment. Change also is about you.
Yeah.
So that when you move to the other environment, you are ready to be the person you need to be in that environment. People ask why Joseph went through, he was a slave in Potiphar's house, then he was in prison, then a prime minister. There's certain aspects of Joseph's character that had to be formed in all these places.
Yeah.
That's true.
He understood, from my perspective, the way I see it, God wasn't just dealing with his character, he was dealing with his capacity to understand people. When you're in Potiphar's house, you're the chief slave of a very wealthy man. So you have a lot of authority. Think about it. He was second in command, not second in command, but he was first in line in terms of authority within Potiphar's house. He was in charge of everything. Yeah. And he was fruitful and all
It
that.
actually says it's only his wife that he
Yeah.
had kept from
Exactly.
from him.
After that, he went to the prison. He quickly rose up in the ranks in the prison. He had some level of authority and influence. He was a dream interpreter. He was in charge of a group of people.
Yeah.
Why that's important is because God was teaching him how to relate with all types of people. So that when he became prime minister, he would understand how he would explain his vision to people and how they would understand it. God is very intentional and he understands each and
so
every one of
good,
us.
yeah.
You see. So Joseph needed to understand in the prison, there's criminals there who are farmers who are going to be released and going to farm. What is their mindset? What is it? How do they reason? How do they justify their decisions? So when I explain to them that all of you need to give a certain amount of grain to this storehouse, I can communicate to them in a way that they'll understand. Same in Potiphar's house. If these wealthy people, how do they reason? What are their desires and expectations? When I communicate that information to them, I can relate to them. You see, so God was creating an environment for a sandbox, if you will, for Joseph to learn to become the prime minister. It just seemed like a very hard situation.
Yeah.
So there's things that he had to change inside of him. That's why he went through all those things. The first place I believe you should always change is yourself. Find ways to change. If it's habits, so do therapy. If you don't know where to go, do therapy. There's a beautiful course called PLF, the Purpose and Leadership Forum, which is done by Apostle Angie Morenga, mom, to me. So I recommend courses like that particular course. It's fantastic about learning how to become aligning with your purpose. But change internally first.
Yeah.
Then then God will lead you to change your environment. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same as Abraham, as in it's no different. He was called, God called him to leave his father's land and go into a wilderness, into a literal desert. Yeah.
I love it so much. And what I'm hearing is that God will never waste any experience.
No.
There's no experience that will happen in your life
No.
that God will waste.
Yeah.
And I've never looked at it the way that Joseph needed to know how to deal with the prisoner, with the pauper,
Yeah.
but needed to learn how to deal with the kings
Yes.
and the governors, and so that he could be
Exactly.
able to communicate vision,
Yeah.
because that's also another hard thing, to
Absolutely.
communicate vision. This is looking like a preaching, and he's a marketplace leader,
I know.
but it's so good.
Yeah.
So let me pick up from vision. You're a marketplace leader.
Mm-hmm.
You have a big vision. How do you communicate your vision to your teams and communicate it
Yeah.
articulately?
I think it's first by fully embracing the vision. Sometimes when God gives you a vision, your first prayer should be to first accept it fully and not dismiss it. I don't dismiss anything in my imagination. I don't. Anything God has put there, I can't dismiss it. A lot of us do.
Yeah.
When God tells us, I'm going to one day bless you with this building, you start listening to voices, your own voice, and also voices from other people who you share. And then a lot of people, if you want to kill your dreams, share it to a small-minded person. It's true.
Make sure that's a real.
If you want to kill your dreams,
Share
look for the person with a small mind.
Share
And they
it.
could even drive a V8 and live in Runda. But if
they're
their mind is
small-minded.
small, believe you me, to be honest, I've been exposed to a lot of people. And a lot of the people who you find are very small-minded live in those places. Yes. They can have, because some of them didn't make the money.
Yeah, okay.
Some of them inherited it. Some of them married into it. There's so many.
There's so many ways to come
Ways
to
to get into wealth.
into it. Yeah.
So if you find someone is small-minded or asks you, no, that's too big, you should. If anybody ever tells you that, you've told your dream to the wrong person. If anyone tries to tell you to be practical, because see, God isn't practical. When he decides today, Joe, if he says today, you're leaving here in a Range Rover, you just have to accept.
Me have accepted, Lord.
Heavy
You
on
just
the
need to
Range Rover.
accept.
Yes.
You know what's going to happen? Between upstairs here and walking down to the garage, you don't know what he's done.
That's true.
You see, God's dream and vision isn't for everyone. So what he's told you isn't for Daisy. So she may not understand why you're reasoning like that. See, I guarded this vision for many years. Many years. I refused to share it with anyone. I didn't tell. There were so many people I was afraid to tell because I did not want anybody to crush my spirit. Because I had to carry it like what it is, an egg. You see, this vision is nothing more than just that, an egg. So I had to first become the guy who would carry this vision. That's why I had to keep it quiet, and I understood that. So my self-awareness, I always ask God to show me who I am, and ask for wisdom. That's what wisdom is being able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, fine. I don't like some of the things that I do. I don't like that I do this to myself. I don't like that I spend time with this person. And then after you find out what you don't like about yourself, find out about what you don't like about the people around you. Because those are the people who are feeding into you. And if you don't have, I tell people, don't take advice from anyone who's not where you want to be, or at least has not achieved what you want to achieve. They can't help you. They can't help you at all. So, but going back to it, it's just your faith, your journey of faith has to be very, very selfish. It has to be you and God only, so that
Can be able to
you can be actualized without. Because see, that's how the enemy doesn't work through monsters that come into you. Can't do no. Works through subtle voices of people who you think that you can confide in. So that's why it's always very important that when you get a vision, when God confirms a vision, that you pray that he aligns and surrounds you with the people who help you steward that vision.
Yeah.
One thing I've always prayed for is the right team to help me steward this vision and help the people who I have in my team see and understand where I'm coming from. Because first they have to understand me. So I communicate my vision with the team by them getting to interact with me and understand why I reason like this. There's some team members who I took to one of my grandfather's farms to look at. And before that day, they didn't understand my vision, where I came from. After that day,
they got it.
the next weekend, there's a gentleman who I won't mention by name, told me, I understand why you think the way you think. After seeing what have you just showed me, if that's how you grew up, if that's what you're exposed to, I understand why you reason like this. You see, for you, it's not, because for me, there's nothing that is in my vision that is a story. It's real. You see, Providence Africa Group being what it's going to be, it's a real thing. It's a reality. It's not something I'm doing kubahatisha. I know it's a real thing.
No kugeria mali.
Something to loop into the people around you.
Yeah.
I want to ask, then how is the person you marry relevant to growing your vision, and how did it play out for you? You know, if you have, how did you know that, by the way, this is someone who supports my
share the
vision,
vision,
I can share the vision, we can grow this vision with? And then after I do, how has the partner you have, you know,
Helped.
helped
me with
or
my
been
vision.
important
In the
in the
vision.
vision? Because you know, many people say that the person, one of the greatest decision you can make is,
Who you
you know, who you marry, getting born
Absolutely.
again, and then who you
you
marry.
marry.
It can literally shift or make or break you. And many of the challenges that we see even in society, one of the areas is usually relationships. You know, you see someone who was really great, you know, a great minister, whatever, but then area of
married.
relationship. So how has the person that you married been important, and how did you communicate that vision and know that, by the way, this one we can run with?
You're 100% right. I think by the grace of God, I've gotten the best wife that I could have ever asked for me and my purpose and my vision. So I think getting saved, I pray people get saved before they get married.
Yeah.
That's my
Amen.
prayer and desire, is that they know Christ before they get married, so they can make good decisions.
Yeah.
And sometimes you could be very surprised. God won't necessarily lead you to the person you expect. Yeah,
Very true.
Isn't that true?
He doesn't.
Yeah.
But as long as you let him lead you, you get the right person. You see, I prayed for my wife. One thing I told God, I had tried my own way and it failed multiple times, and I thank God that He did. And I once told, one day when I was ready, I said, okay, God, I'm ready to meet my wife. And I left it at His feet. The moment I told Him that, a month later I met her. I was introduced to her. I wasn't even, when I met her first, I wasn't even sure she's the one. God kept on saying, yeah, this is the one. But I was like, is she? So I took some time to get to know her. And the more time I gave to know her, the more time I spent getting to, and my sister's the one who really encouraged me to give her a chance. So the more chances the more time I spent with her, the more I got to know her, I realized, man, this is someone, wow, as in, this is actually the right person. You know, this is actually the perfect person for me. But I had to, but on the face of it, I was like, no, it can't be. How can she be the right? But she's the right person, you know. But choosing the right wife, pray that you get the right woman or the right man. Pray, because your life can be destroyed
Completely.
by the wrong person.
Yeah.
And it won't even take long. And the problem is, that is a permanent decision, spiritually.
Yeah.
You see? And it can delay so much. And I'm not saying God can't fix it, but why should we spend our time praying for God to fix something broken rather than spending our time asking God to lead us in our purpose? So a lot of us are in ICU spiritually because we keep praying and wondering, why is this person hurting me? And you knew very well that this wasn't the right person for you. And the right person was a guy who was boring, didn't know how to dress very well, blah, blah, all these things.
All the things you say.
All the things we
Yani
say.
shoes made you miss out on your
imagine,
purpose.
Shoes
imagine,
is the reason.
shoes.
Shirt.
Shoes and
Simple shirt
yeah.
for 2000.
Yeah.
Na
Socks.
material.
Yeah.
Made you miss out on your
Exactly.
purpose.
Destiny
No.
imekupeleka
Destiny,
Yeah.
no.
And you're allowing your destiny to be waylaid by superficial things.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think our generation needs to hear that.
it does,
Yeah.
because when I look at me, yeah,
No, I wanted to say they need to especially hear that, and from a man who is successful, so that it's not that you didn't have your peak of
Oh, okay.
of the what is it called, your peak of it,
Yeah.
but you knew
yeah.
that this is the most important decision that you had to make.
If
So
what I'll do is, I guess you can put it up on screen, a picture of who I was 10 years ago today, 2016. And if you look at that guy, that's who I was when I met Althea. You know,
For Aromat.
before Aromat.
Althea's worked.
Hey, she's worked.
Althea has worked.
I give her credit where it's
Althea
due.
Who
has
as in-
finds a wife?
He
finds
finds
a
a
good
wife.
exactly.
thing.
But she, in my opinion, she had no business, even by society standard. Why would you date a guy who looks like that? You know what I mean? But God,
Won't he do it?
hey.
Baga.
So
But God.
she didn't like the clothes. She liked me, but she didn't like my clothes. She didn't like my shoes. She threw away some of my stuff.
I pray we get her here one
yeah.
day. to just
We'll bring
tell us.
Althea. I will need to bring Althea.
So imagine I gave her, like, in all this, she had no business being with me. I wasn't the most, I was scruffy looking, I was everything. I was not a good enough guy by society standard. I didn't even have a car. You know, I wasn't making any money. As in, I was in bad shape. You know what I mean? As in, when we met, I was making money, but I wasn't making I wasn't stable.
Yeah.
But can you imagine, because she gave me a chance, what we've been able to accomplish and what we're accomplishing right now? Because she agreed to give me a chance. So I always give her credit where it's due, you know, and that's why I always say, I always take care. That is my wife forever, endeavor. Yeah, because of that, yeah.
Do you think when you shared your vision, because I can imagine how you look like in 2016, and you shared your vision, just like, you know, I want to own a conglomerate of companies. Because sometimes there's also a tendency, and we need maybe to, that's why, as you've said, pray. Because there's a difference between marrying potential and marrying a bum. I'm sorry, but it's true.
It's true.
Because, you know, at the start of the race, you can't tell. Because everyone is saying, me, I'll win. Even me, I'll win at the start of the race. So it's that aspect of prayer. But I wanted to say, maybe how is it that you shared your vision with her so that she caught it enough to say,
By the way,
we can work with
We
this.
can work.
Yeah.
I think one thing about me was I was very intentional. So a lot of guys who are what you'd consider bums, they say they're going to one day do these things.
Yeah.
One day.
Gonna be president.
Yeah, but my thinking, for me, when I came into it, I was intentional. I said, this is what I am already starting to do. This is the goal. This is the plan. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm stuck. You see, I was not afraid to put my cards on the table and say, this is what I'm trying. This is what's not working. I wasn't, like, my ego wasn't fragile. So I was not afraid to tell her, I'm not doing well. And I've seen lots of men who allowed what the challenging things they're going through discourage them and defeat them. You know what I mean? Men who just want to hide what they're going through, the hard times that they're facing, thinking that they have to be a man. No, share it. If she leaves, at least now you know that she's not for you. As in, don't try. It's true. Don't create a facade that you can't sustain. Tell her the truth. You know, for a marriage to work, you have to be able to tell her this is where things are right now. Things are a bit tight here. Even in the relationship, when you're starting, I only have 5 pairs of clothes. That's the reality. I only have 3 pairs of shoes. You know what I mean? This is how much I make. You know? And don't be intimidated by someone who has or who's doing better than you. You know, as in, I'm a firm believer in you'd rather have a woman who is doing better than you, who can believe in your dream, than try to keep up with someone who, or try to provide for someone who isn't there mentally. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of things are happening right now. Like, there's a lot of, my wife was telling me a story about someone she knows who, they were, because of the way they drove and the way the kind of car, I have a business partner who drives a very big car. She's afraid to go places with that car because guys won't give her a chance because her car is bigger than theirs. Like, I didn't even have a car and I was choosing to date Althea. I was not ashamed. Like, for me, I think it's silly to be ashamed about
but also
not having more.
Matu, you've dealt with the shame pieces of your life.
Yeah.
It's a self-aware, like you already know. And I think it's also it's just who you are. It's just like you're never afraid to show this is it, guys. This is what's on the table.
Yeah.
Are you willing to take the journey or not? And you're okay either way. You're okay if someone says yes and someone says no. Yeah.
And then I guess you had come out of the wilderness.
Yeah.
So you had seen it all. Like,
and there was no like, I'd even been told once by a girl who was trying to date, and she said, I can't be with you because you don't drive a car. Like, I was told live.
simple car.
So when I told Althea that story, she's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's how I knew she was the one. She's like, that's so
you
dumb.
Just knew that's the
That's the dumbest thing. What do you mean? Because of a car. You know, anyone can God can decide. You walk out in the park, God has blessed you with something. Money is hitting your account and you can buy a car that day. These are things that can change.
Yeah.
Sure.
You have to be, but it's two-pronged. Women have a role to play in society when it comes to these things. Manage your expectations. Be willing to build with someone. Not every guy is 6'4". Not every guy has $1 million shillings, earning $1 million shillings every month. But you can get there.
Yeah.
And then for guys, stop being silly. Don't be silly enough to say, I'm not going to give that girl a chance because she drives a better car. I can't be the woman who makes more money than you. Then be alone. As in, then suffer. As in, if God is trying to bless you and you're being stubborn. You know, sometimes what marriage does for you, it magnifies. It helps you magnify who you are. When I communicated my vision to Althea, she was on board from the beginning. Like, she didn't hesitate. She believed in every single detail. She still does. You see, and she's bought into it, literally, you know. So far, I was like, she believes in me so much and she trusts this vision that God has given us and that I'm stewarding it in the right direction. As in, it doesn't matter if she had a car before me. As long as she believes in me, that's all you want. As a man, that's what you need.
Yeah.
The
Someone
cars will
believes
come.
in you, yeah.
The house, as in, and you'd rather have, because God will only do things for justice. So in a way that's just. So he wants you as a man to learn to treat your wife with regard and respect. You see, you're not just a bank account. And a lot of guys don't realize that it's not just about the money you have.
Because
You
then
have
what
to-
else are you
yeah,
bringing to
thank
the
you.
table if you don't have money?
Exactly. A lot of us men have been vain.
Wow.
That we think that we have to just show up with money and that's it. That's what makes us vain. And that's what makes a lot of us miserable, because we keep waiting for the one day where we have a big break, not realizing the big break is the right woman. You know, the big break is the white girl who just says, you know what, we'll build together.
Yeah.
Let's put all of this aside. Let's
build together.
build together.
Do you
Even if she has a Mercedes. Yeah.
Atakan GLE ama?
GLE.
Sawa, wacha kuja na you. Don't judge
Kuja
her.
nayo.
Just take her as she
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
But Matu, as a man, your ego has to be in check.
Absolutely.
Let me tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I was watching a certain podcast and this person was saying, when you're approaching a lady and the lady is well off, don't be intimidated by the kizungu. Just look at her, you know, take it in,
Yeah.
let her talk,
give her a
talk,
chance.
gather your thoughts, then talk. You know, like,
Kizungu
don't
is
Yeah,
it's
it's
square.
very true.
stabilize.
Can I give you guys a funny story? My father. Have you guys, have you been to Thika?
Mm.
Yeah, I've taken you to Thika to you met my uncle.
Yeah.
My father lived in a slum opposite next to the market, a place called Majengo.
I know Majengo.
You know Majengo?
Mhm.
Poor. My dad
Mm.
comes from that
Slum.
that place. As in, if I went to my childhood home where my grandmother raised them before she now was able to grow, and she was a fantastic businesswoman and amazing woman who became very successful. But their house, as in, it's the size of this floor, or like where we are right now, it's like two of these floors together. That's how big it was.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? My father, who came from that, could go and marry my mom, who was raised in a 14-bedroom house, you know, on a big farm and all that.
Yeah.
I have no shame. As in, maybe that's another thing. I do get it from my father. He was not ashamed to leave Thika and fall
Go
in love
across
and marry
town,
and
cross-
marry a woman from a very wealthy family.
Yeah.
As in, if for me, I have no shame in that, and I encourage a lot of men. In fact, the best benefit for you is if you can marry a woman from that kind of family. If you're a dreamer, if you're ambitious, that's the woman you marry. Why? Because she understands that these things can be accomplished.
Yes, can be
You know,
done.
Her
sometimes
mind is already there.
you see, a lot of people don't have the patience for that process. You could marry a woman who comes from a different background, but because she doesn't believe in it, she's never seen it, she doesn't think it's possible. And if she doesn't think it's possible, guess what? She'll make it
believe
difficult
in
for
you.
you.
Yep.
She will actually cripple you so that you won't be able to achieve. So a lot of men, you're choosing the wrong people. Don't look at her looks on the outside. Look at her background. Look at her thinking. Has she seen that it's possible for humans, regular human beings, to ascend to the heights?
Yeah.
If she doesn't, then she's obviously not the one for you. If you're an ambitious man, so don't be intimidated by a woman. In fact, your dreams are in safer hands with a woman who drives a GLE. Yeah.
God give us
Yeah.
G.
Amen.
Yeah, or who comes
Who
from
has that mind?
who has that
Yes.
mindset, because it's possible. Yeah, because that's the person who's going to be raising your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah, that's
So you,
supposed to-
you
yeah,
want
so-
them to transfer
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
As we wrap up, you talked a lot about mentorship and how important is mentoring the men
Yeah.
for
Oh
you
God, this one he can talk for an hour.
in 5 minutes.
Okay.
I-
Mentoring the men.
Yeah, the men.
Men need
And
mentorship,
even
yeah.
in the issue, in the gap you've said, is it
Yeah.
an issue of mentorship, especially with the men, boy child? We've seen a lot of girl child empowerment the past 20 or so years.
Yeah.
Has that left a gap in the men? And
Absolutely.
what are you doing to bridge that
Bridge
gap?
the gap.
I think absolutely, you're 100%. Mentorship is critical for young men. There is a gap, 100%. That's why so many men are too afraid to commit into marriage and all that. I think the big problem with a lot of men is the role models are not who they used to be. back in the day, the role models were people of character, people who you admired, and intellectuals. Those are the people who all young men wanted to be like. So you'd find, like for me, my role model was my grandfather. He wore a suit every day, except in holidays. So every day of the week, I wear a suit and a tie. Daisy knows this. Most people who
Even
I know
on
who are in
Fridays.
business, every day, even on Friday. Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody else I know who is my friend. A lot of my friends don't do that, but I do. It's my way of doing things. I show up in the office that way because I had a role model.
Yeah.
So men need role models. Men need people who they can admire and emulate, so that they can. Because see, that's how men work. They copy what they see a lot of the time. So men's mentorship is, number one, stems with what is being presented to them in the world. So if you want to be a mentor to young men, because a lot of men with good character, number one, make yourself known, make yourself accessible. Because, like, I have a daughter. I want my daughter, the guy who's going to marry my daughter, to be a man of good character.
Yeah.
You see? But I have to be able to, you have to sow. You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
If I'm not sowing that into society and mentoring young men here and there and giving them
Where do you
ideas,
expect
and
them
what
to
do you
come
expect?
from?
Where do you expect those young men to come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So mentorship for young men is critical. It's essential. There is a huge gap. I'm calling on all men who are in business, in various aspects of life, to obviously keep working on yourself, because you have to be willing to acknowledge your shortcomings and your mistakes even before you start mentoring people. And you have to be real with yourself, which I think there's a lot of mentors who are not. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are dishonest with themselves about who they are and what they can do for people. But yeah, just really build that relationship with self before you start mentoring, and open your doors. As in, young men are desperate for mentors.
that's
They're
true.
desperate for people who they can talk to, desperate for examples who they can model after. So you see, I take that as a responsibility. I have to be the man who I wish, who I would want similar for my daughter to marry. Yeah. You see, I have. That's how I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
And you're doing a good job.
Oh, thank you.
You have
Yeah,
very many
yeah,
mentees.
thank
We
you.
even are trying to cut some out because of time and everything. So I think
should wrap
that's almost the same thing you're doing with Tupac.
Yes. Yeah.
It's called
Just to kick it.
just
Yeah.
and
Just
he's
kick it with the guys.
the
Yeah.
men's
And that's
conference
where I
you guys-
watched.
Yes.
That's-
So with
that's the
the
interview.
the conference you guys went to.
We did
in
a
Kenya?
conference to Just to Kick It with the Guys. We're going to do it again this year. And it's just a conference for guys to talk, to bond, to spend time together, where mentors and mentees come together.
Yeah.
And an exchange of, an intergenerational exchange of ideas, character, an example. Because that's what it is. It's example.
Yeah.
We just have to have many good examples that we can look up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If someone wants to find you and they're interested in, knowing more about the mentorship
yeah.
or just connecting with you on any level,
Yeah.
maybe you can share where they can find you.
Okay. Well, they can find me. I'm not taking any new mentees right now. As Daisy said, the diary has become quite
Packed.
yeah. So
Guys. But maybe before man to answers, one thing we're trying to do is find a way that he can is it conglomerate?
communicate. Yeah.
Bring all of them
Yeah,
together.
Yeah.
Maybe on a breakfast, something.
Nice.
So there's something we are working on. So, but you can reach out to him when
Yeah.
it's ready.
Yeah.
He can bring
Yeah.
them on board.
I'm on LinkedIn. I think I'm on Facebook for sure. I recently joined TikTok, Instagram. Yeah, a few weeks ago. I'm not very active. I'll be very honest with you. But I will post, do my part. But that's where you can reach out to me, and there will be communication. I've made sure that there's a
yeah.
way that people can talk and be communicated with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Alright.
Yeah.
I had so many questions to ask him about Marketplace. This went.
Hey.
It's not.
Part
I don't
two.
know. Part two.
Part
We'll
two
come
is-
back.
we'll
Part two.
come
Yeah.
But please ask Matu questions. Any questions that you'd like for him to answer as a Marketplace leader. I can confirm he is a successful Marketplace leader. So that's true. And I think what I love the most about where I work, because I love my job.
This is always telling me, like, I love it. And
I
it's such a
Even
blessing
with the stress?
because
I do.
imagine.
I do.
If there's one thing I can say,
Yeah.
Daisy loves her job.
Oh.
I do.
Thank you.
It's
That's a
Yeah.
so,
blessing.
and it's the impact part. It's the
Yeah.
money part. I remember Victor, Matu, and I were having a conversation one day that if today 1 billion shillings just dropped into your account, God can just say,
Yeah, you
my
feel
girl, this
Miracle
girl.
money.
Yeah, and they asked me, so what would you do next? I'd said the thing I'd do is probably I'd go buy a new car, buy a new phone, and then the next day I'd show up at work.
Yeah, she said that. Yeah.
Then you're in
I
the
was so
right
shocked.
place.
As because it's
Genuinely.
the money I kept saying the money is to keep
Yeah.
score,
Yeah, it is.
but it's about the impact.
Absolutely.
And I think maybe we can always have a segment where we
Yeah.
talk about what Providence does, but seeing how we're even impacting the lives of our employees, you know, fair pay, having healthy families, just and seeing the children that are being born who are now Providence, like seeing all
Babies.
that and that impact
Yeah.
is truly such. Thank you for allowing God to use you in that way, and for Jimmy and having the courage to do it.
Thank you.
The resilience to
Because
see it through.
it's not I know there are days it's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you for coming,
You're
Matu.
welcome. Yeah. I'd love to come back again. Yeah.
We'll have
yeah.
you
We'll
again.
have you
Yeah,
again.
and we'll bring Althea because I'd want
Please,
to
yeah.
Hata
hear.
mimi nataka kujua.
Hii
No.
aliuziwa hii
The other
vision.
perspective.
Hii vision alisikia aje ndio akanunua hii vision.
Yeah,
So
I would also
we'll
love
reach
to
out
hear
her.
Si muniulize mimi.
We want
We
the
want to ask
consumer.
Althea. We want the vision, the receiver of the vision.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, guys, for joining us for this episode. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments or DM us.
Yeah,
But this was such a good conversation.
it was. And we hope to see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.